Pavitra Prabhu, did you want to mute the participants just in case if they forget to unmute? It wouldn't disturb the class.
Yeah, Mataji, I'm doing it.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. My pranams to you all. And I think Asitaradhya Prabhu just joined us. है ना? Prabhu, आप हैं? Are you with us? He's in West Virginia traveling with Gurudev. Hope the connection is fine there.
Yes.
Hari Hari Prabhu, Hari Hari. Please excuse I'm not able to turn on the video, but thank you Prabhu. Thank you for being with us again as a follow-up on your talk on Japa. And we are excited to know more about that self-evaluation form. So yes, please take over Prabhu.
Okay, so can you display the Japa questionnaire when I ask you to do? So it's ready with you, right?
Yeah, yes, Pranapavitra Prabhu, you have it on, right?
Yes, we have.
Thank you, Prabhu. Yes.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Okay, so I just need to do some adjustment here.
Yeah.
Yes, Prabhu. Yes. Yeah, yes, Prabhu. Yeah.
Yes, we have.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji.
Om Gyantimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeyam Shri Guru Shri Utapada Kamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajiva Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Shri Lavita Shri Vishakhan Vitamsha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pastha Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschata Dishatari Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Krupa Sindhubhya Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namah Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. Okay, so this class is continuation from the previous class. Am I muted?
No, we can hear you, Prabhu.
Okay, so because this class is in continuation with the previous class which I gave, 2 or 3 days back. So just let me ask, the question, what were the points of learning out of the previous class?
Two important things, Prabhuji. No kriya, that means we have to sit down and do it. No physical movement, no other activities with it while doing japa. And focusing the mind, so bringing the mind back to the sound.
Very nice. Anybody else?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes.
There are 3 levels of Japa, Prabhuji. Jada level and disturbance level and concentration level, Prabhuji. In Jada level, we will be, that should not be done at all. It is a void thing. If we do Japa in Jada level, we should consider that Mala is not done. like walking, talking to others, shopping, cooking. These things are Jada level, Prabhuji. Disturbance level is mind level disturbance, Prabhuji. We should, the mind should not be distracted with other things. We should concentrate on the Nama Japa only. We should bring back again and again. And the last level is we should do in Bhava, Prabhuji. Bhava means Hare Krishna means Hare O Radharani, O Krishna, give me your service, chance to do your service. We should be in that bhava and we should listen the chanting.
Okay,
Hare Krishna. That's
good. That's a very nice summary. So the last class was mainly addressing the three layers of inattention prama, which is based on the conversation between Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Haridas Thakur, and complementing second and the third verses of Sixastakam, and kind of giving a transition from at the level of no attachment to Kirtaniya Sadahari. So we need to avoid the offenses, and especially we need to come to the platform of attentive chanting. And while doing attentive chanting, we must be careful to follow certain regulative principles so that we do not perform any activity along with chanting, so that our rounds are counted. It was a very strong point, and there was a lot of just discussion about that. So eliminate Jadiya completely. Whenever the mind wanders, that is inattention of the second level, Vikshepa, at the level of the mind, and you try to bring the mind back to the sound vibration. And the third was Audasinya, or indifference. This is at the level of the heart or intelligence. And there are so many techniques, there to remove the Audasinya, to really get involved with the emotions and mellows and feelings and chant with the emotions, briefly, you can say. So Devaki Mataji, has summarized the meaning of Hare Krishna Mahamantra, that while chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, you can have some meditation like, please accept me in your divine service. So please accept me. Please accept me. This should be at the back of the mind while chanting. What we did is that it is good to basically have this discussion and to understand these principles, but we should also have a tool to measure our chanting. We should have something that actually tells us whether our chanting was in compliance with these regulative principles or not. So, when a lady tries to basically, dress herself, she's going out for a nice function. So she puts on the saris and she puts on the jewelry and she puts on the makeup and everything. And what does she do? She actually goes and looks at, just looks at her in the mirror. And then as soon as she sees, the mirror, then she begins to adjust a few things here and there, isn't it? So it is, she wants to make sure that, she's looking pakka, or, the way she should look, that she has in mind. So in the same way, regulative principles of Japa are there, and we are doing our best to follow. But then there should be some self-introspection. So we have designed a tool called a self-Japa evaluation questionnaire. It is only and only for you and for your own eyes. You do not have any obligation to report about your performance of chanting to anybody else other than you yourself. So how good you are for doing on Jadiya? So there is a section on Jadiya. How good you are doing on Vikshepa? So there is a section on Vikshepa. How good you are doing on Audasinya? How good you are doing on eliminating Jadiya? How good you are doing on eliminating Vikshepa? And how good you are doing on eliminating Audasinya? And in the fourth section, I put down whether I am able to complete my rounds before 9 a.m. in the morning. Prabhupada is given that, latest by 10, the round should be completed. Now, where is this 10 o'clock coming from? Chandramouli Maharaj in Botswana, I was listening to the class, and he kind of divided 24 hours into the 3 time zones. And he says that the time from 2 o'clock at night to 10 o'clock in the morning is mode of goodness in hyperbolic way. You know, hyperbola. So from 2 o'clock, it begins to climb. And at 4:30, kind of mode of goodness is at peak. And then basically 96 minutes, minutes before the sunrise, it's actually kind of a peak, and then it tapers off. And, then, mode of passion begins to come in. So, and by 10 o'clock, the mode of goodness is fully gone and mode of passion is fully manifested. So Prabhupada said that finish your rounds by 10 o'clock. Now in this Japa questionnaire, as we will go through it and we'll discuss it, we have put down a time of 9 o'clock. Why 9 o'clock? Because there is always, we really don't want to leave it to the last moment. And if there are any rounds pending, then we have got 1 hour up the sleeve to basically catch up the rounds. Normally, all our rounds should be completed ideally before the Shringarati commences. That's the standard we want to follow. So obviously, try and schedule yourself in Brahma Muhurta in such a way that even if you're attending a temple worship program, the temple program, you just make sure that you have chanted some rounds before the Mangala Arati and, between the Mangala Arati and, the Shringarati, you try and basically complete most of the rounds. And if still 2-3 rounds are pending, no problem, try and basically catch them up, and do them before 10 o'clock. That means you really chanted good quality rounds, and you deserve full marks for that. So now, how do you evaluate yourself? You got to do this evaluation on a daily basis. You don't evaluate round to round, right? Otherwise, the questionnaire becomes too much. We don't want this to be, the time-consuming academic exercise, but it is rather, the tool to check yourself. So take an inventory of your 16 rounds and generally evaluate whether did you combine your chanting with any other activities, right? This questionnaire will force you to sit down and chant and actually make sure that you're not combining chanting with any other activities while chanting 16 rounds. If you combine, the activities while doing the rounds, then basically you get a 0 marks. Now it may happen that out of 16 rounds, you have done 10 rounds in a sitting position, not combining any activity, and 8 rounds and 6 rounds the other way. So according to our discussion, 10 rounds are counted, 6 rounds are not. But, that is like another evaluation. But here you are evaluating the quality of a japa. So as soon as you find that, okay, 10 rounds I was chanting in a sitting position, but the 6 rounds, I got up or I was talking or I was combining another activity, then I think you get a 0 for that. Now, it looks like a very, tough assessment, but it is going to give you a lot of benefits, because this assessment, you will reflect your chanting and you will say, I want to improve upon it. How can I get 0? I want to get 5 out of 5. So then, it will force you to adopt, the regulative principles of chanting more seriously, and you will definitely move in the direction of endeavoring to sit and chant basically the japa with a lot of attention. So that is the idea. So I've listed some activities. If
you got muted, Prabhu, we can't hear you.
okay. So you can hear me now?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, so here is a screen. Did I do following while chanting? I put down a whole lot of activities. Principle is that we don't want to do anything while chanting. So how do we avoid the jadya? We discussed that. Quiet corner of the house, sit down, on an asana, chant, do an achmana, chant Om Apavitra Pavitrova. If you have not taken bath and you are chanting, otherwise there is no need for you to chant that mantra. Finish your Gayatri. If you are Brahmin initiated, you can chant some Bhuta Suddhi prayers. We have not touched those aspects, so I'll not go into those. And, you are just chanting, without your actually mobile phone is switched off, your light is probably switched off. You've told, everybody in the family that please don't disturb. And so they want to respect your precious time while you're chanting the japa. And then you are avoiding jadya. Now, if you ask me, it is the easiest part of the whole chanting exercise is to avoid the jadya. Isn't it? You sit in one corner on an asana and try to chant the japa. You avoided jadya and you get 5 out of 5. But if you do any activity, that I've listed over here, or any other activities combined with chanting, then you get 0. So then we go to the next stage, vikshepa. Now this vikshepa is distraction at a mental level. So I've given some examples. What are the examples? Making a plan for the day, remembering conversation with the devotees, thinking on resolving some pressing issue. We all have pressing issues. Meditating on my class today. What am I going to speak? Any thoughts other than, hearing Hare Krishna Maha Mantra? So these are the levels. These are the various ways the mind creates the vikshepa or the distraction for us. But what is important in the midst of all these distractions? Am I able to bring my mind back on the sound vibration? If I do that, then those rounds should be counted. But that is the counting of the rounds, which is completely different from, this. So here, we actually want to basically, we actually want to simply hear one mantra at a time, one word at a time. We want to hear Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. So any distracting thoughts we want to avoid. So the distracting thoughts will be there. But as long as you are avoiding, you will get 5 out of 5. And you can actually judge it best that in your 16 rounds that you've chanted for the day, how generally you have been. Distracting thoughts were there, but were you able to bring the mind back to the sound vibration? If the answer is yes, you get 5 out of 5. The answer is no, I'm afraid you get 0. So then we go to the third level, which is audasinya or indifference. Right? This is at a level of heart, or this is at a level of intelligence. Now, we cannot artificially create the feelings or the emotions. So the one who reads Srila Prabhupada's books for at least 1 hour a day, or who is hearing Bhagavatam class, which is generally 1 hour with attention, using Acharya's bhajans, these are different techniques. You have Japa related discussion with the senior Vaishnavas who are inspiring you. Then this audasinya begins to basically dilute, and automatically and spontaneously you get, you actually chant with an emotions. And chant with emotions means what? We are not at a raga platform. We actually, do not want to chant with any artificial feelings. It is just a simple, plain feeling of, oh Radharani, please accept in your loving service. That will spontaneously manifest. Yeah? If we are attentively reading books of Prabhupada, if we are attentively hearing Bhagavatam classes, if we take keen interest, and if we consult basically our senior Vaishnavas in how to improve our Japa practice, and we dive deep into Acharya's bhajans. Sachinand Maharaj was very much particular about this point, and he recommended, one of the bhajans from Sharanagati, written by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, which is Amara Jivan Sada Pape Rata, Nahi to Punyera Lesha. So I visited my life, and through those 8 stanzas, Bhaktivinoda Thakur is kind of creating an atmosphere of a self-humiliating attitude. I have wasted my life. And if you really dive deep into actually these bhajans, then you see most of it is applicable to us. And we feel really humbled. And then, our heart gets involved better into the chanting. So that's a way to follow in the footsteps of Acharyas. And then this spontaneity in Japa will come. Indifference means don't chant mechanically, but chant with the emotions. And that means that there has to be some spontaneous uprising of feelings within the heart. And in order to do that, we need to take shelter of someone like Bhaktivinoda Thakur and Narottam Das Thakur. And yes, if you're doing this, exercises, then I would say give yourself 5 out of 5. And then the last is, when did I chant my 16th round? If I chanted my 16th round at 9 o'clock, yeah, give yourself basically 5 out of 5. Latest by 10 o'clock, 5 out of 5. But at 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock or whatever, then you get 0. So that way, your evaluation is divided into 4 sections. Your evaluation is aimed at improved Japa practice. Your evaluation means you really want to avoid the Jadya, right? Any form of activity combined with chanting. And that is the easiest thing to do, is sit down in the corner of a house, in isolated corner, and chant Japa with attention, right? Simply by doing that, even your mind could be wandering. But because you're sitting down in one corner and you're not combining with any other activity, on Jadya, you will give yourself 5 out of 5. But because your mind is wandering and you're not bringing it back, probably in Vikshepa, you will have to give yourself a 0. But in the middle of all the Vikshepa, right, even though the mind is wandering, you're trying to bring it back and you're consciously making an effort, you're watching your wandering mind, you're upset about it, and you want to bring it back to a sound vibration. It is a practice over the period of time. The mind does get trained to wander around, the sound vibration. It's going to wander though. And then there is indifference levels. So your regular practice of reading Srila Prabhupada's books, hearing Srimad Bhagavatam class, or Srimad Bhagavatam class, or getting into Acharya's bhajans. If you do any of these activities, and you say yes, give yourself 5 out of 5. And try and complete your 16 rounds, 9 a.m. If you cannot, latest by 10 a.m., then you get 5 out of 5. So there is 5, 5, 5, 5. And in each section, if you score 5, you get 20 out of 20, and you get 100%. So in this exam, the passing mark is what? Passing mark is, I think, 100%. Because you've got to avoid Jadya, you've got to avoid the Vikshepa by bringing the mind on the sound, you've got to be reading Srila Prabhupada's books, and you've got to be finishing your round by 10 o'clock, the latest in the morning. If you do that, you are doing quality Japa, which is expected of you as an initiated devotee, which is the vow that you have taken in front of the deity, spiritual master, the Vaishnavas, and the fire sacrifice. And over the period of time, see, in this actually, the questions, the chanter has scored 50% on Monday, 75% on Tuesday. He has passed on Wednesday. Thursday and Friday has been terrible, 25 and 25, because he didn't read Prabhupada's books. He was having all kind of, the distraction. He completed his rounds, not actually within the allocated time, and there was Jadya too. I think there was no Jadya, yeah. So, and again, basically, Thursday and Friday, so Saturday and Sunday, he did with a lot of attention, and he got 100 out of 100. So overall, if you see a weekly performance, average weekly score is 68. So it's more than 50. So it's not that disappointing, right? Although pass mark is 100%, but you're drifting towards it. And at least for 1, 2, 3 days out of the 4, 3 days out of the 7, you got 100%. Such an inspiring thing. And you can see that why it was 25%. And immediately on Thursday and Friday, you didn't have basically good Japa. And on Saturday and Sunday, you did basically the catch-up game. It's just kind of an example. So it's personal to yourself. It is actually your own Japa. It is your own evaluation. And it is your own practice. You have to drive your own plane. And this Japa evaluation questionnaire is a tool. It's kind of a mirror which reflects the quality of Japa to yourself and helps you to improve it. So that's a little talk. 9:24 and 6 minutes are left. Are there any questions? We had a lot of questions the other day.
Dear devotees, you need to unmute yourself and ask a question or raise a hand so that I can unmute.
Was it difficult to follow? Let me ask you a question. Do you think this can help?
Yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam, Mataji.
Prabhuji, I had also listened to this talk 2 years back during lockdown time when you had presented this talk, and it has helped to me, like, to improve the chanting. But I feel, Prabhuji, that viksheep can only be removed, and it is proportional to the amount of detachment that we get from the worldly activities. But when I try to detach myself, there is like a lot of fear that arises in me, that what if I leave my financial status, my man, samman, etc. So that doesn't happen, and so my viksheep never goes away. So how can I improve on that part?
Okay. So it's a very good point. Our philosophy is not one of detachment, but our philosophy is one of attachment. Right. Putting full faith in the words of Acharya, scriptures, and the holy name. We try to adopt this practice, and we do it with a lot of faith and determination. Then basically you're going to get, the desired results and fruits. It will automatically detach you. It is not that you should be detached first before you chant. You somehow or the other try to chant, following the regulative principles of chanting with faith, determination and enthusiasm, and you see the effect following. So that is the reason it is called Cheto Darpana Marjanam. Detachment means basically our cheta is completely clean. No, we start the process, and the first actually product of chanting is that it cleanses the heart. So what kind of chanting is that is going to cleanse my heart? Not inattentive chanting, of course. So you got to make this conscious effort of bringing the mind back. That is your endeavor. You got to make a conscious effort of eliminating offenses. You got to make a conscious effort of eliminating jadya. Then Cheto Darpan Marjanam will take place. Now, should I wait to get detached first before I chant? It's never going to happen, right? That is the reason it is said that the Guru removes avidya, right? At the time of initiation, our spiritual master gives a class dedicated to the 10 offenses of the holy name. Why? Because he wants us to chant the japa without eliminating offenses. So the Guru removes avidya. What does the disciple do? Disciple removes the aparadha, offenses. He makes an endeavor. That is your sadhana. Okay, that is your sadhana, is your endeavor. And then the Krishna removes the aparadhas, Cheto Darpana Marjana. All these sinful propensities within the mind, basically, just gets burnt up. So as soon as you hear the sound vibration, right, Burijan Prabhu says that, you're touching Krishna through your mind. And all the impurities embedded within the mind, because Krishna is a supremely pure object, just as you touch the fire and, you become hot, your mind touches the Krishna, it becomes purified. That's how Cheto Darpan Marjanam takes place, by hearing the sound vibration. So every time the mind is wandering because it is impure, try to bring it back to the sound.
Yes, Guruji, thank you so much. I really appreciate you said Guru removes avidya, and I do the endeavor to remove my anarthas, but Krishna will grant. Yes.
Aparadhas. You do an endeavor to remove the aparadhas. So when Guru, it means you are acting on the instructions of Guru.
Yes.
So Guru says this is under the ignorance. He gives you the full enlightenment about what the holy name is, and how you are prevented from getting the full benefits of chanting because you are committing an offenses. Durdaivam udrashan ihajani na anuraga. I have no attachment. So then there is a methodology of chanting that you need to follow. And if you follow that, which is your endeavor, then Krishna will remove the apradhas and Chetodarpan Marjanam will take place.
Yes, Guruji. Thank you so much.
Not a problem. Very good question.
Thank you so much.
Anybody else?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhu, if our score is not 100% to start with, and it is consistently not 100%, so how to keep us motivated, and how to keep up the motivation to keep working on it?
The fact that you are, getting disappointed by looking at your score is itself a very big positive thing in itself, right? I mean, never before you observed your japa, never before you observed your mind wandering, but now you are becoming conscious of it. Isn't it a big step? Actually compared to where we are at, I mean, we are not evaluating our japa, but now we have a tool. So very consciously at the end of our 16 rounds, we actually look at this questionnaire and it takes only 1 minute to basically mark it yes, no, 5, 5, 5. And so it's bad. And it's an honest self-appraisal and you give yourselves a 25%. Naturally, there is an impetus to improve the next day. So don't worry. You will find yourself basically improving. This exercise is aimed at making you conscious that you're not chanting your japa properly. So it's a self-appraisal. And you can't have the negative self-appraisal on a day-to-day basis. No, you will definitely, and one day you hit basically 100% and you will feel that, yes, I can do it. It is actually going to boost your, confidence significantly. And, you will endeavor, actually in direction to actually make pass mark, which is a full mark. What a tough paper.
Mhm.
Itself, it's a very, very big positive effort to see that, oh, my mind is wandering. Oh, I didn't sit in the corner and chant. Oh, I didn't read Srila Prabhupada's books. I need to do something about it, and it will happen. It's called a sincere repentance. It's an atonement, that you need to go through so that, you can improve your practice the next day. So this Japa questionnaire is designed to do that for you.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Good.
Hare Krishna, bhai.
Next Naveli.
Yes, bhai. Actually, I'm driving, so that's why I didn't disturb you in between. But I have a question that when you do japa in the morning, your mind is definitely wandering 1,000 times. So you said that you have to bring your mind back to japa loudly to hear your voice. That's what you meant?
Yes. So there are 3 ways you can chant, and Prahlad Maharaj, and the most recommended ways for us who are the beginners in the process of chanting is to chant and hear. Chant means to speak, and chant has to culminate into the hearing. So you have to utter the sound vibration and you have to hear it. Now, Burijan Prabhu says in one of his Japa workshops that if the mind is wandering, right, then chant louder than the mind. So as soon as you find that your mind is wandering and it's too much of the commotion here, then you chant louder, and it has a tendency to basically bring the mind back to the sound. So you can uplift your voice, you can increase your voice of chanting, and yeah, it does basically help, because at times basically we have so much thoughts and we chant louder, and all of a sudden it comes back. The idea is to hear Hare Krishna Mahamantra 108 times during the japa. That is ideal. But even if you hear it once, your entire round is considered, just successful. That's how fortunate you are. Actually, he says in basically the Japa workshop, because it is not possible for one to hear 108 times. It will happen. It's a practice. Over the period of time, we will get detached, as Vrindavaneshwari has said. And as we get detached, and as we practice bringing this mind back to the sound, it will automatically and spontaneously be the practice of the mind to come back on the sound, and you will not make much endeavor. But when your mind is wandering too much, you chant japa loudly and basically bring it back to the in the morning when you are chanting the japa, don't chant in the mind. Chant loud enough for you to hear it. And when your mind is wandering, too much, chant it louder. You got to chant louder than the mind. Does it answer, Nityanaveli?
Yes, bhai. Yes.
She calls me Bhai. Bhai means brother, because she is my sister. She's not only my God's sister, but she's my real sister too. Okay.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam.
My name is Murali Govindadas.
Yes, Prabhu.
Prabhuji, in spite of hearing a lot of inspiring talks, inspirations, very illustrative instructions from all our Guru Maharaj, Prabhupada disciples, senior brahmacharis, controlling the mind while chanting, it is becoming the Herculean task for me. See, just now you were saying that you should chant loudly to avoid the thoughts in the mind. So I have been trying.
Not basically all the time. It is just necessary. But in the morning time, my experience is that sometimes I do have to chant a little louder. But by and large, it is actually not an issue. I'm able to actually hear the sound vibration. Yep.
I've been hearing, but still I feel my way of chanting, I feel it is quite mechanical only. It's just trying to complete that minimum quota of 16 rounds as prescribed by the Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada.
But it is because most of the devotees have taken the vows, and they are very much conscious of finishing that 16 rounds. And I said in my last class, and I say it again today, that the quantity will automatically follow the quality, but the quality is not necessarily going to follow the quantity. So please don't get focused about the quantity. Don't get focused about 16 rounds. I know it is very natural for us to get into that, line of thinking that, let me chant my japa, quickly. No matter whether you think, how much it is going to take 2 hours, 1.5 hours, whatever is your normal speed to basically finish the rounds. Why should you get so much focused about quantity? Focus about the quality. This japa self-evaluation exercise is meant to get you focused on the quality of the japa. Because you are not doing that, you are just going around into the circle. So now break the circle and get focused about the quality and not about quantity.
Because even today also, I'll just share it with you. My mind is telling Prabhuji's class is there today. So just let me complete the rounds first and then I can join the class. But I was little late in joining this class also, because that minimum rounds of chanting in the morning before going to any activity, that's my wow, because I had to do that. So in the process, many times I feel I am losing that taste. That is what you said is quality chanting. It's not
quality
about
the quality means your speed of chanting will improve. This is actually another thing. If you're focused about the quality, and if you try to bring the mind back on the sound vibration, you will generally find that you are able to chant faster. Sometimes, people say, oh, the quality means, am I going to get slow? Am I going to spend more than 2.5 to 3 years? No, your first couple of rounds could be slow, right? But as you try to basically catch up and as you get involved inside the japa, your quantity will finish in no time. And you will relish the japa. You will relish the japa. You will relish the japa. This is what you want to do. You want to enjoy your chanting. And actually you want to finish that in time too. So, the right consciousness is to get focused about the quality. And quality means to avoid the jadya. Quality means to avoid the vikshepa by bringing the mind back to the sound. The quality means to read Prabhupada's books regularly for at least 1 hour, or read or actually hear one class. It is also said that you read Krishna book at night, and next day while chanting, you meditate upon Krishna's pastime, whatever you read the night before. That is also attentive chanting, but I'm not going to touch those aspects, because then it opens a Pandora's box, and I'm not going to go into those. But there are many ways in which the mind can be kept on the form, quality, the pastimes of basically Krishna. One of the ways is to read Krishna book at night and meditate upon the pastime, because the pastimes of Krishna are non-different from name and non-different from Krishna. So it is not inattentive chanting. Yeah, you can basically talk about that. But let's actually first get the basic regulative principles right. And if you get focused about the quality, again say quantity will follow it, so take out that useless thinking, oh, I have to complete my 16 rounds.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Dandavat.
Dandavat pranam. So we are in New Vrindavan. I had a wonderful interaction with, what's the name of the Prabhu today? Bana Bhatta Prabhu. And he kind of gave us a rundown of how only 8 disciples of Srila Prabhupada came together in the year 1973 to build this palace of gold. It took 6 years for them to build. And, in 1979, when the Palace of Gold was opened to the general public, there were 80 devotees who were working on it. And most of the devotees had no idea of construction. And they put up, such an amazing, job that I'm still scratching my mind as to how could they do such intricate works of putting such wonderful design, colors on the glasses. The marble work is simply out of the world. And, what pained my heart is that the Prabhupada, never saw the finished construction. I think it actually did pain me today, and Kirtanananda Maharaj, was an inspiring leader. And I made some notes about basically, actually in my mind of, what I heard today was an amazing performance by disciples to please their spiritual master. Very inspiring, very, very good. So we are going to spend here, one night, and, we'll be traveling again back to Baltimore tomorrow. In the evening, Guru Maharaj cooked a very nice khichdi, hot khichdi.
Asitaradhya Prabhu, thank you so much for your time. I was thinking any katha on Harinam is generally not easy because the subject matter is both deep and subtle. And that too, to wind it down in a limited time span is not easy too. But the other day and today, you have shared, I was going to say nice points, but it's not just a matter of points when it comes to Harinam. There are so many aspects to it. And whatever you have brought to us is so much appreciated. Asitaradhya Prabhu. I've noticed any devotee who is trying to get us closer to Harinam, they put in so much thought and efforts to get us closer to Harinam. So we really appreciate that so much. And I also want to say, when all of us are hearing about, especially regarding the Harinam, it's easy to hear about the pastimes, and it's easy to be there. There's not much of effort needed to hear the pastimes or relish it. But regarding the Harinam, it is not so easy, since, again, it's a subtle subject matter. But the enthusiasm the devotees have to improve their quality of japa, I can say that, but to improve their service for Harinam is so much appreciated also. So thank you so much to you, Asitaradhya Prabhu, and to all the devotees who wants to do their service to Harinam better. And I think Annapaini Mataji, her hand was risen if there's any question. Otherwise, yes.
No, Mataji. Hare
No?
Krishna.
Oh, no? Okay. All right. Mataji. Yeah. So, yeah, if you have any final words, Asitaradhya Prabhu, you may please do so. And again, I was thinking this is a packed one. Any 1 hour subject, any 1 hour or 2 hours is also a packed one on Harinam. This is the whole point why we came up with this WhatsApp group, and then hopefully in the future, a series of discussions where each question can be addressed in depth. And hopefully that will clear our path as we go on in the Japa journey. And since Srila Gurudev has spoken, and since you are our senior godbrother too, since you have spoken too, we take this as the start of our Japa journey, and we will continue from here on. But thank you so much, Asitaradhya Prabhu, for all that.
So thank you, Ujjwala Mataji. In my parting, the request to all the devotees is that if you could really get a little serious about filling the questionnaire and give me the feedback, probably not immediately, but maybe in a month's time, if you consistently basically filled it out, then let me know whether it is actually helping you to improve your japa. I'm getting a lot of positive feedback as a result of people trying to avoid the jadya and becoming, conscious of avoiding the vikshepa, bringing the mind back on the sound vibration. I'm getting a lot of positive feedback. But this japa-related self-questionnaire, how it is as a tool to, improve the quality of the chanting, I really want to hear. So if some of you or all of you, I hope all of you, if not at least some of you, sincerely take to this task of self-appraisal, then let me know in about a month's time, or just something like that, of how it is working to basically improve your japa. And I'll appreciate that. Thank you so much, Ujjwala Mataji, for engaging me in your service, in service of this wonderful devotees in this group, especially Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hi, Lord.
Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyeva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Shri Harinam Prabhu ki jai. Thank you, Asitaradhya Prabhu. Thank you all.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Bye.